Conspiracy theories, eh? Wait till you get a load of this.
Hello, and welcome to Cracked Sisters Conspiracies. We're a podcast that covers conspiracy theories, mysteries, and all over spooky shit. My name is Jackie.
And I'm Cassandra.
And we're sisters.
Oh, I tried to force a burp and it didn't come out at that time.
I don't think I heard it. I saw it, though. Hello.
Hello, what's going on?
Not a whole lot. What's going on with you?
Same, just the usual. I met with our parents today to work on financial planning for them and to see how much we stand to inherit once they inevitably die. So,
Are we looking good?
Yeah, the modest amount. It's nothing to complain about.
Okay.
I don't think we'll be trying to off mom and dad any earlier than we need to. So that's
They're
good.
safe,
Let it cook a little longer.
Okay. What else is new?
Nothing. Football is almost over for this season, which is good. Then I get like a 2-month break. I started reading our book club book today, finally.
Oh, okay.
Because I had to wait until I finished this last exam. I just took it on Friday. So now I can spend the next week reading our book.
Did you pass the exam?
There it is. I'm sorry, what?
Did you pass the exam?
Yes, I passed the exam.
Oh, that's good.
So I am now halfway done through my program, and I just have 4 more classes to go.
Wow, okay.
And then we met with our travel advisor who's helping us plan for Japan yesterday. So that's coming along. And we finally got our passport. So it's like real.
Do you guys have luggage yet?
No. We still have 9 months until the trip. It's okay.
That's true, I guess.
The biggest thing I have to figure out is what to do with the dog and then the cat.
Yeah.
Because you're not here. Mom and dad are going to be gone by then.
Oh, that's true, huh?
Yeah. So we'll figure something out.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
So nothing exciting with you?
I went to a crab feed last night.
I saw that. What was that for?
Yeah, it was just for a local police department. Billy, my brother-in-law, knows one of the guys. And it's open to the public. Anyone can do it. It just goes towards, their police officers association. So that was fun. So we got a whole bunch of crab. They had really good items, but we didn't bid on anything. They had like 5 guns that they were giving away.
Oh, cool.
And like a Blackstone and a big TV and stuff. So yeah, we're broke. So we didn't bid on anything, but it was still fun.
Okay.
I recently watched for the first time Rosemary's Baby. It was very good.
I don't know that I've ever actually watched it. I've only, I think, read about the movie.
Yeah, I never sat down and watched it, but it's a cult classic.
You liked
and it was very good. I really enjoyed it. And it was even good for like the time. Like it still holds up now.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was really good.
That's good. Oh, I watched Longlegs. Fuck that shit.
Oh yeah, what did you think of it?
Oh my God. Okay. First
Hold
off,
on, you have like a weird delay.
Do I?
Now you don't. When you start talking, I hear your voice and then I see your face.
Well,
or see your mouth.
So either look away and just listen, or
okay, I'll look
turn
away
the captions on. Ooh, I wonder what it looks like with the closed captions on. Okay, save.
Oh, I can change the color. Let's go.
Wow. Oh, look at that. Okay. Anywho, Longlegs. So it started strong. I was intrigued going into it.
Mm-hmm.
The Longlegs character itself creeped me the fuck out, but then got really weird really quick.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time the movie was over, I said, what the fuck did I just watch?
That was my review when I watched it months and months ago. I don't know if I liked it. I thought it was overhyped. I thought they did an amazing job on their advertising for it.
Oh, yeah.
But I still don't know what it was about. I do want to rewatch it because I see that it's on all the streaming platforms now for free. But yeah.
I don't know. I went down into like a Reddit rabbit hole afterwards because I couldn't sleep because I was thinking about it the whole time. But like because I was frustrated with it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh, and then we've been working on our backyard. So we finally ordered a shed, which should be coming in the next few days.
Okay.
The very far side of the yard where the gate
corner
is.
Yeah,
that needs to be like redone. So finally said, fuck it. So we ordered a shed and then we're finishing that up for the dogs. But yesterday, Evan and I went and got new bird feeder stuff because I love my birds in my backyard. And we added 2 other things. I almost didn't want to record because I was sitting in the backyard just watching the influx of birds.
That's okay. That's what I do every single morning for at least an hour a day. They're my babies. I have 2 bird feeders. And they have come to know me because I go out there and I scare them away and then they come back. So they're getting used to my face.
Yes.
And then Alex sat out there with me this morning because he was mostly making fun of me. But he's like, oh, I should build you because they're hanging in the tree right next to each other. One's a bar, one's a pub. So,
love it.
I love it. So he's like, oh, you need to build a little shelf on the bottom and then put 3 more houses to make a street, so they can go all these different places. I'm like, okay, that's what we're going to work on. So
I love that.
Yes, I'm obsessed with my birds.
I've reached that point in life where just sitting and watching the birds in my backyard is what brings me the most peace and happiness.
Same. And I get some sun. It's lovely.
Right? I was reading, I got a drink, I got a book, and I got birds. It's great.
There you go.
At one point, I took a picture. There was 17 yellow finches in my tree.
Oh, that's a lot. The most I've ever had, I think, is 7.
Oh my God. It's been so much. So we put up a finch sock. So it's attracting finches specifically. It's just the way that it is. It's a filled sock, kind of like one of those rice filled heating things.
Mm-hmm.
But it's with this particular seed. And as soon as we put it up, all of these yellow finches started coming that we've never had before. And then we have red-breasted birds and this and that. It makes me so happy. And then they all go bathe in the fountain, and it's just my little oasis.
We should get a fountain. That sounds good.
Yeah, Evan built that water feature, and so the squirrels, the birds, everything comes and just my child plays in it, drinks from it. It's great.
I did find the cutest. It's like an Adirondack bench, a swinging bench for birds, and the bottom is where you put the seed. So and presumably they would sit on it and swing. Yeah, I'm very much also in my bird era right now.
Okay, that's great. I'm here for it. I'm also here for our podcast, but I don't know what your topic is because you kept it under wraps. So what is it?
That's true. I will tell you, but I do want to tell you real quick beforehand because now I thought of something else. I don't think I told you. March 10th or 11th, Mom is going to be receiving a package that is for you. I don't know what the packaging looks like, so I wanted it sent to her house so she could block out anything because on March, I think 21st, 2nd, or 3rd is our podcast anniversary. It's our 2-year podcast anniversary.
Wow.
So I got you and I a little something for it.
Okay.
So I just wanted to let you know. So at some point you'll have to pick it up once it's, once you've deduced that it's safe for you to grab the packaging. But
okay, looking forward to it. Wow, 2 years.
I know, shit.
Okay.
Alrighty, so my topic today is the mystery or mysterious fog that had been happening. Had you heard about it? It was before TikTok got banned for 1 second and then came back.
No.
Oh, that's actually surprising. Okay.
Like The Mist?
Yeah.
Like the movie / book, but it was fog?
And in real life, yes.
Oh. Have you seen The Mist, by the way?
I have. Do you know it's listed on the top 100 or top 50 movies ever?
Number 1 for causing emotional damage at the end of it, but
I don't remember. I own it. I've seen it many times. Cannot for the life of me remember what the end is, but I know it's very traumatic because that's what everyone keeps saying, but I can't remember how it ends.
It is. So Evan and I watched it a couple of months ago because we had both never seen it.
Oh.
And so spoiler alert, this movie is fucking 20 or 30 years old. So if you haven't seen it by now, too bad. But Tom Jane, him and his family are on the way out and they're trying to outrun the mist. And then they are at a point where the mist and the monsters essentially have them cornered. And so he thinks that it's absolutely hopeless. And
in a supermarket, right?
No, well, it starts in the supermarket. They're in a car. It's him, his wife, their child, or whoever's with them on their way to go. And he's like, oh my God, this is it. So he pulls out a gun, shoots everyone else, goes to turn it on himself. And then all of a sudden you hear noise. And then he gets out and it's the fucking army and shit coming to save the day. So he just immediately killed everything that he fought so hard to save. And now he's like, oh shit, I didn't have to do that.
I don't remember that. Did he at least kill himself?
No!
What a piece of shit.
He was going to, but then it was I don't remember
I
if
mean, it's
he...
understandable, right? You don't want your loved ones to suffer, but then at least have the balls to kill yourself when you just fucking did it for no reason.
Right. And like, yeah, he was going to. And the next thing you know, it's like, oh my God. Like, it was just so depressing.
Nope. The last thing I remember is them in the warehouse portion of the grocery
Oh,
store, and like the thing comes in and it like kills somebody, and then everyone's panicking, but I don't remember past that.
yeah. It's bleak. So are the real life events similar to that at all?
Not to that extent, no.
Are there alien monsters involved?
Not to our knowledge yet, but the world may never know.
Okay.
Okay, so during the last week of 2024, there were many stories about this mystery fog that had popped up all over the US, and it was correlating to sicknesses and illnesses that people were experiencing. People were saying that the fog was not your average fog that you see on cold mornings or whatever. They said that it was super strange. And they're like, the government has done some stuff in the past, but they wouldn't be a part of anything like this. They wouldn't try to make a fog to spread an illness or something like that. Or would they?
Well, apparently those in power control the weather and everything. So
that was almost a rabbit hole I went into for this, but I'm like, that's not this episode. So we're just skipping over that completely.
So before you go into it, where is this fog taking place? Because it's not like Southern California, obviously, because that just sounds
not.
like
So that's
smog.
my next bullet point, actually. So the first
Okay.
section is me explaining it to you as if you'd never heard
Got
of it.
it.
Great, because apparently you've never heard of it. So these reports were coming in from multiple different states. Florida, of course, was the most active on these reports, but it was also found in Texas, Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota, Virginia, North Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, and Oklahoma. And then about 1 week after all of these reports initially started, it allegedly popped up in Canada and the UK. So it was pretty widespread. It didn't affect California, so no one cares, I guess.
Well, it's like our air quality is so fucked anyway. We wouldn't know any different.
That's true with the fires and everything. Are the fires out, by the way?
Smog. Yeah, we had a couple of weeks of like rain smatters that put everything out. So,
oh, okay, that's good.
Now it's just going to cost billions of dollars and take years and years and years to like rebuild. But whatever.
That's about right. So everyone was kind of reporting the same things, everyone who was experiencing these fog episodes. And they were saying that the fog was unnatural. It smelled like chemicals, specifically either like nail polish remover or acetone or fireworks, like a shit ton of like sulfur.
Oh.
They said it looked different than any other fog that they had seen before. And many people had reported that after they had gone outside or been somewhere where this fog was, they instantly started feeling sick, or their animals were like acting sick and acting strange.
Okay.
So hundreds of videos were uploaded to the TikTok of this fog, and many people had like a flashlight or some sort of light source on it. And it looks like thousands of little white particles just flying in the sky. I know you haven't lived in snow, but literally it looks like if you're driving in the snow and your brights are on, like it's just like constantly beaming at you. And people are like, that's weird. That's not what fog normally looks like. It's just dense. It's not like little mini particles. So they're like, that's fucking suspicious.
Does sound weird.
Some people were also posting about the aftermath, saying that once the fog had passed, there was these white clumps, almost like snow or maybe like bubble residue all over the ground. And like, that's weird. Normal fog doesn't leave this type of residue behind. So people were super suspicious about it.
It sounds like ash.
That's a good one.
Interesting. Well, I'm just speaking of fires. I'm like, I haven't experienced snow falling, but
yeah,
I've experienced ash raining down on me before.
That is true. We will maybe get into that later.
Okay.
So a TikToker in North Dakota shared his story, saying that he had just changed all the air filters in his house. It was that time of year. And then he started noticing all of these different reports. He was in a specific state where the fog was coming in. So once it passed, he's like, I wonder how true these reports were. So he pulled all of his brand new air filters, and allegedly they were all completely filthy. And he's like, that's so strange. I just changed these. Why would fog be producing such pollutants? I don't think it's just fog.
Okay.
As for the sicknesses, people have reported they had a cough, sore throats, burning eyes, congestion, nausea and vomiting, and then feeling lethargic.
That's like any given day with allergies.
No, thankfully I don't have allergies, but so I've heard. A lot of people, I guess, at first thought they had food poisoning. That's just what was the most relatable to their lives. But they're like, I was in this weird fog and I didn't feel this way before the fog and now I do. So they were kind of, drawing the correlation between this fog and not feeling great.
Okay.
And also there was no parts of people shitting out of their mouth and their ass, which is usually the telltale sign of food poisoning.
So just
Like, oh my God, Alex, I'm pretty sure just had COVID for the last week. He wasn't shitting his pants, but he was very sick and very annoying for the last week. So that was fun.
Oh, that's no good. I'm not 100% from
You
what
sound
I
much
was
better.
sick. Yeah, feel much better. Everyone else who got sick in the house was down and out for like 2 days. It's been weeks, but like mine developed into a sinus infection.
Oh, geez.
But antibiotics, and it's pretty much knocked out for the most part. But there's still a little bit of like nasally, and it just feels weird. And my ear sometimes feels numb, but we're just gonna, go with it.
Have you experienced any fog recently before this happened?
You know what? There have been some foggy, dense mornings lately.
There you go. Especially driving through like Olsen in the morning or late at night. That shit's so fucking foggy.
Oh, yeah. Well, driving through Wood Ranch and Long Canyon, you can't even see in front of you. It's crazy.
So there could be a correlation.
Maybe.
So many people who remembered either personally seeing it or seeing it on social media were saying that about a week or so before the fog kind of rolled in, that they remembered seeing a heightened amount of drones like in the area. And drones always make people crazy. They always make people think that the government is watching them. So they're like, oh, that's weird. I wonder if the drones have something to do with this mysterious fog that rolled in.
It's probably just some perverted guy down the street just seeing what's going on locally.
Possibly, yeah. So yeah, this was very popular. I think it's basically died down. I haven't seen anything recently about it. It was about like a 3-week period that this was super prevalent. And it was right at the new year. So obviously like people were already predicting that we're all going to die in 2025.
Yeah,
so
like
not helping.
I feel like that just got lost in the world's going to end shuffle, and that's how I missed it.
It must have been, yeah. So there's a couple different reasons for the fog, or at least potential reasons. So reason number 1 is going to be the damn volcanoes, which is kind of what you maybe alluded to when you mentioned ash. I know you're talking about fire, but technically, I know, I wasn't expecting volcanoes either. But we're going to take a little trip down a historical highway here.
Okay.
So in the year 536.
Oh, like way down the road. Okay.
There was a mysterious fog that rolled in over Europe, the Middle East, and parts of Asia. The fog blocked the sun during the day, causing temperatures to drop, all the crops to fail, and many people were dying.
Oh.
Immediately following this fog was the 9th plague of Egypt, which lasted for 3 days. Research has found that a volcano had erupted in Iceland, which spread ash all over the sky, and that's what was causing the fog. It was basically just a dense layer of air molecules and ash, but because the ash was so thick, it was blocking out literally all of the sunlight, killing all their crops, and then killing everybody.
Got it.
In the year 541, so a couple years later, the first known bubonic plague pandemic began. It was known as the gestation plague, and it started in the port cities of Egypt. It spread around the Mediterranean and destroyed the Eastern Roman Empire.
Oh.
Then there was the Black Death, which lasted from year 1346 to 1351. It killed tens of millions of Europeans and Asians, and it is believed to have started because of the Somalis eruption in year 1257.
Interesting.
In the year 1815, the eruption of Mount Tambora in Indonesia caused the climate change that led to the cholera pandemic that killed millions of people. This all sounds very fun.
Yeah.
The eruption also caused famine and crop failure, as I mentioned, because it usually blocks out the sun, which contributed to the spread of disease and growth of the opium trade in China.
Oh.
The third plague pandemic began in China in 1894, which then spread to India and lasted for about 50 fucking years.
What?
And it killed roughly 3 million Indians and Chinese people.
Oh, wow.
Which I had not heard of any of.
I know, neither have I.
And then would you find it interesting to know that on November 20th, 2024, there was another Icelandic eruption on the Reykjanes Peninsula, which lasted for 18 days and ended on December 8th.
That does sound interesting.
And then just like a couple weeks later, this mystery fog rolled in. Exactly.
Oh.
So why would volcanic eruptions and plague outbreaks be linked to one another, as it seems to be?
Okay.
Do you have a reason or like a guess?
I have a thought, and my
Okay.
thought is volcanoes are so fucking old that
Okay.
like they existed so long ago
Mhm.
that anything at that time might have just kind of like settled. And then if it erupts, it's spewing all of this ancient bacteria that we have no protection or immunity against. And it's just ravaging everyone that it comes in contact with.
That's a good theory. That's also kind of how it works with the ice capsules.
Yeah, the
Because
ice
they're
cap
like,
melted.
everything is frozen from the fucking eras back in the day where everything was an ice age. And they're like, once those start to melt because of global warming, whether you choose to believe that or not, they're like, we are going to be exposed to these things that we have never been exposed to as, this type of society. And it's going to fuck us all over. So very similar, but technically not exactly on the mark.
Okay.
So volcanic eruptions are linked to plagues because the ash and the aerosols that they release into the atmosphere are able to significantly alter the climate, leading to colder temperatures, which then leads to disrupted weather patterns. And then that reduces the food production because it needs sunlight and all this type of stuff in order to grow. And then that creates ideal conditions for disease outbreaks like the plague because it weakens the population because they're not eating.
Yeah.
And then it increases the prevalence of disease-carrying vectors like rodents and fleas, which are usually the things that end up carrying these diseases and making them outbreaks.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Such a chain reaction thing.
Never would have fucking thought about it
No.
ever.
Nope.
So scientists believe that most of the 12 plagues, because I guess there's been 12 plagues in our existence, occurred as a consequence of volcanic activity.
Great. So what is everyone going to start dropping dead of shortly?
That is undetermined.
It's bird flu. It's bird flu.
Oh, is there an uprising bird flu right now?
H5N1. Yeah, that's why there's no fucking eggs.
Oh, shit. That is very annoying, by the way.
You can still get the big pallets at Costco for like $8, but if you try to get what?
Our Costco has been out of eggs for at least 2 months.
Oh, so we still have access to eggs at Costco. It's limited.
But Costco was like the source of the outbreak, I thought.
I think in the free range or one of them. But yeah, if you try to get just like a dozen eggs at the fucking grocery store, it's $15.
Yeah, it's fucking bananas. I go to Smart and Final. That's usually where I get it. Or a grocery outlet usually has it. But yeah, Costco has been out of eggs for months. No one can get them at Costco. It's very annoying.
Oh, yeah. We were able to get some like last weekend at Costco and I was refilling our egg holder. And I'm like, man, I feel so fucking rich right now.
You should.
Every egg was just gold rolling into its spot.
I know. I saw a meme this morning that's like, oh, back in my day, we used to be so rich that we had so much eggs and toilet paper that we just fucking threw it at people's houses just because.
Right?
Okay, so option number 2 of what caused this mysterious fog would just be the weather.
Okay.
For those that don't know, because I didn't know, I almost failed science as a child. So
Not
fog
surprised.
is a cloud of water droplets and ice crystals that form to the Earth's surface, and it occurs as a result of the air temperature reaching its dew point, which is its maximum water saturation.
Yep.
So because it is comprised of tiny particles, shining a light into the fog, as everyone was showing on social media, will make those tiny water particles visible, which explains why everyone's seeing it. Because realistically, how often are people going out in fog and just like shining a light?
Only if you're driving through it.
And everyone knows if you're driving, you're supposed to put your low light on.
Yeah.
So technically, no one seemingly has just experienced fog with high lumens. So it's like it's natural that you wouldn't know what it looks like and you think it looks weird.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
A scientist named Rudolf Hauser gave a potential reasoning for why it's making people sick and the weird smells that it's seemingly giving off. He explained that fog can absorb pollutants in the air like sulfur oxides and nitrogen oxides, which can then intensify those odors and create an irritant on everybody's respiratory system. So that could explain, the symptoms of why it's making people sick and then why they're smelling these weird fucking scents when they go out.
That makes sense.
And then reason number 3, because it wouldn't be a conspiracy podcast without this reason, is it's the government.
Of course.
As I mentioned a little while ago, everyone was kind of correlating these lots of like drones being in the air to this fog. And they're like, something definitely has to be up with that. So yeah, lots of drones. in the air. People are like, that's weird, that's suspicious. I feel like it has something to do with the fog. So it makes people initially just think that the government's in on it because the government and drones go hand in hand. But why would the government artificially want to produce fog?
Great question.
So some people could say they want to spread a new sickness. They want a new COVID outbreak. The way they were calling this Fogvid instead of COVID.
Fogvid.
It had its own name and everything. You really missed out on this.
That really
so that's
doesn't
what people
have...
are thinking. One reason that they just want to make everyone sick.
Sure.
One could be they want to do population control. They want to wipe out the population, which has been theorized upon recently.
Yep.
Or they maybe could have a bigger plan, they being the government. But in the end, funny enough, at the end of every single article I read about this, and I read numerous articles, it's always like trying to debunk it. And it's like, oh, it's obviously just fog particles in the air, or it's the volcanoes. Like, you guys are so stupid. Everyone wants it to be this big conspiracy. You know, the government would never do that. But have you ever heard of something called Operation Sea Spray?
No, but given the name, I'm not surprised that it exists, but I don't know what it's about.
Well, I'll tell you about it in just a second because we got to renew our Zoom.
Okay.
Now, a quick word from our sponsor. Do you live in the Bay Area? Are you in need of a CPR class for work or just to gain knowledge? Well, look no further because CPR Education has you covered. They host public classes every Saturday in Pleasant Hill, ranging from CPR and first aid, BLS for healthcare providers, infant essentials for new and expecting parents, and EMSA-approved courses for licensed childcare providers. Whatever need you have, CPR Education has a solution. Go to cpredu.com and use code CRACKED for 20% off any public class. That's CRACKED, and you'll get 20% off any class of your choosing. CPR Education, keeping people together.
So, based on the name of Operation Sea Spray, give me a guess of what you think it is.
It's gonna sound terrible, but the first thing that pops to mind is a whale exploding in the ocean.
Like they blow it up? Okay, you are not the target demographic for this episode then. I mean, I love the thought, but unfortunately you're incorrect.
That's just the image that came to mind when you said that.
That's okay. All right. So for 1 week, specifically September 20th to September 27th in 1950, the United States Navy decided to conduct a secret operation.
No way.
They had been scoping out 43 U.S. locations, and they ultimately chose San Francisco Bay Area in order to host their super secret organization that they have going. Only a couple weeks later, on October 11th, 1950, 11 San Francisco residents checked into Stanford Hospital, and every single one of them had UTIs, so urinary tract infections. It was men and women.
Okay.
10 out of the 11 people were ultimately able to get their UTIs treated, but unfortunately, one person, a man named Edward Nevin, died 3 weeks after his hospital visit.
Because it was super syphilis and not a UTI.
That's a different operation name. So all 11 people had a previous medical procedure done at the hospital prior to them returning and having this UTI. So the natural conclusion was that, oh my God, the hospital has been contaminated and it is infecting all of these people that it did these various operations on.
Oh, so they had all been at the same hospital and had procedures done. Oh, okay.
So they're like, oh shit, it's the hospital. The hospital did something. And it was actually so rare that 11 people in such a short period of time all came in with UTIs that they wrote about it in the medical journal. Like, that's how rare it was for them. In 1977, the U.S. Subcommittee on Health and Science Research, they had a couple meetings with the U.S. Army. They're like, hey, Army, we think you guys have been up to some shady shit, and we want to ask you some questions about it. So the Army's like, cool, shoot. The subcommittee found out that the U.S. Navy, along with the Army, they were kind of working together. They decided that they were going to perform a biological warfare experiment where they sprayed these two bacteria. It's, oh God, Sriracha marcescens and Bacillus into the air in San Francisco without telling anyone. So they
say sriracha, like the hot sauce.
Sriracha? I don't know how it's pronounced. Okay,
I like to think that it was sriracha.
There's two bacterias with very confusing names. It's
Sure.
unrelated to the story. They decided that they were going to spread it out into the fog over the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge.
That's like a notoriously foggy area.
Because they wanted to check two things. They wanted to see just what would happen, obviously.
Sure.
And they wanted to determine how vulnerable San Francisco was to a real biological weapons attack using the air. So, like, they kind of had a good reason, I guess. I think they're way about it, not the best. So
Sure.
after admitting to their experiment, the army was like, yeah, we released 2 bacteria into the air. We didn't tell anyone. And yeah, 11 people almost directly afterwards reported these UTIs, but they also all had medical procedures. So this is quite seriously 100% the hospital's fault. And we just are a happy coincidence. This is on you guys.
Sure. Makes total sense.
But also during the subcommittee, it was discovered that this secret test was not the first time, because it's never the fucking first time. There's a little bit of history about the times that the government tried to kill you using air. So between 1949 and 1969, open air tests, which is what they called it, with biological agents had been performed roughly 239 times. And this is a 20-year span.
Wow.
In 80 of those 239 times, the Army admitted to having used live bacteria that they just assumed was harmless to the masses. But they're like, we don't feel like doing
It's a
research.
big assumption. Oh my God.
In 1950, the Army released known cancer-causing agent, zinc cadmium sulfide, over Minnesota and other Midwestern states just to see how far it would spread in the atmosphere.
Right.
Fun fact, it was able to spread over 1,000 miles and was found all the way in New York, which was kind of cool.
Wow.
And then in May of 1965, over 130 people at Washington's airport and those that took the Greyhound associated with the airport were exposed to the same bacteria that I cannot pronounce. And within 2 weeks, the bacteria that they had spread in those 2 localized areas had spread to 39 cities and 7 states.
Wow.
So I personally would like to think that the reason for this mysterious fog are like a mixture of all three. It's a volcano, it's natural fog with a sprinkle of the government.
Sure.
However, I don't actually think, at least now based on the information we have, I don't necessarily think that the government had anything specifically to do with this one fog incident, though I do reserve the right to change my mind when it comes out in a year or 2 years that they definitely did another operation.
And I will grant you that when the time comes. You will be pardoned. Okay.
Yeah, so that is the mysterious fog incident of 2024.
Interesting. I don't know how the hell I missed that.
Yeah, I don't know how you missed that either. That's
you
okay.
know what? I think I was so wrapped up in drones in New Jersey and Luigi and...
Oh, yeah. There was a lot going on during that time.
I mean, just since then, it is February 23rd, and this has been the longest 2 months of my life. It feels like we've been in 2025 for
years.
100 years.
I agree. Oh, man.
I don't have the slightest clue what I'm going to do for my next topic. It looks like you were getting ready to ask.
That was
me
my
that.
question that was going to
Saw
come.
the hand go up. Yeah, so I'm going to take a page out of your book, and it'll be under wraps until I figure it
Sure.
out.
Otherwise, I have plenty of options that I can give you that I don't want to
Okay.
cover myself, because I tend to do that and then I regret it.
Got it. That's fine. I get it. So I
Yeah.
might, be sending you a note asking for assistance. But
Sure.
in the meantime, you can always reach us on our various social media platforms to give us additional feedback and topics to discuss that you may have a desire for us to cover. I think the only thing we don't have is TikTok, even though I got an email saying I could download it again, but I refuse. Out of spite, I will not do it.
Stand tall or something. Good job.
That's impossible for me. But
Yeah, we have everything else.
we do. Or you can just email us at crackssistersconspiracies@gmail.com. But with that, I'm going to say stay cracked, y'all.
And have a great day.